Hey, welcome to a new segment of electric vehicle news. I'll try to do this on a weekly basis. And this week's EV news is going to be for the week of April 9th and previous week. Alright, starting this week off, Tesla beat the Q1 expectations for deliveries of their vehicles. Wall Street expected them to deliver 420,000 vehicles, and they actually delivered 422,000, almost 423,000. Another big announcement was that Giga, Texas, which is where the Model Y is currently being produced and where the Cybertruck will be produced, they achieved a milestone, manufacturing 4,000 vehicles per week. So that's the ramp up of their fourth production site for the Model Y, and that's 4,000 Model Ys per week being made. Last week, a lot of automotive journalists got to experience the all-new Hyundai Ionic 6 this week. Based on some videos and articles, people seem to be pretty happy with the new sedan from Hyundai. It has an 800-volt architecture and similar interior to the Ionic 5 that's been very popular and a very liked vehicle. Also, keeping with the suit of the Q1, Rivian produced 9,395,000 EVs for the entire quarter. Now, that does put them on track to hit their new 2023 goal of 50,000 units. This comes as Rivian's been struggling to get production going to target numbers in 2022 as they had some quality issues arise during production. Good to hear that they're kind of getting back on track and meeting their production milestones. Also on Tuesday, GM says they sold over 20,000 EVs for the first time in Q1, with the combined sales of both the updated Chevy Bolt and the Cadillac Lyriq. Also this week, Ryder Transportation has announced that they ordered 4,000 electric vans from GM's Bright Drop company, which will be used for both rental and leased vehicles. These are storage vans that can be used for different things or just transportation. So, with a big auto show happening this week, there's been a lot of vehicles that have been announced. The first vehicle was Ram, so not Dodge Ram, but Ram's now its own entity. They announced the specifications for their new upcoming Ram EV. It does seem like Ram seems to be missing some of the point for an EV, but they do have a customer base that they have to make happy with the lack of options to keep selling ICE vehicles in the future. 2 battery sizes are going to be offered for this vehicle with 2 different range options. There's going to be a 168 kilowatt pack, which is larger than the current F-150 Lightning pack. And then that will provide 350 miles of range. Then there's a much larger, massive 229 kilowatt hour pack, which that's larger than the astronomically huge Hummer EV. We all know how Hummers are. And that's rated for 500 miles of range coming for the Dodge. Now, that's going to be a lot of weight and pack to be hauling around the city, putting trash in the back of your truck. But, we'll go with it. America, right? They're boosting for some impressive specs. They're saying that they're going to have 14,000 pounds of towing and 2,700 pounds of payload, which would be class-leading, beating the impressive numbers that the Ford F-150 Lightning has already brought out there. Important to point out, though, here is that Tesla has yet to release their specs for the Cybertruck, which is expected to also have 500 miles of range. But I expect that battery pack to be half the size of the Rams. But we'll have to see once they announce those numbers for their truck. There's no prices released yet for this, but there will be 5 trims, which will include the new tungsten trim. For those who want to talk trash about rich elites while buying $120,000 trucks they use as a grocery getter, we'll see. Don't get upset. The truck is also said to have a highest technology of any Ram in history, with screens plenty of power to assist powering and assisting options. It's going to boast 1-pedal driving, which is a good thing. The truck will also support an 800-volt charging infrastructure so that it will have the fastest fastest charging capabilities of all trucks. But with the battery pack twice as big as the competitors, it'll need twice as long to charge even if it has a faster charging time. So, efficiency is right out the window with Ram, similar to what GM did with the Hummer. I look forward to seeing the prices, but I expect them to be in the $70,000 to $120,000 range depending on the trim. Time will tell, and I won't count them out yet. They did stop reservations after only 5 days because they had so many. So here's some interesting news. A pest control company out of Texas states that they reduced their CO2 emissions by 78% by using the all-new F-150 Lightning compared to their current fleet of 2013 F-150s. The article doesn't state the time frame, but it was a pilot program, and the president of Safe Haven Pest Control stated that the pilot program made him confident that the benefits of adopting EVs into the fleet and plan to scale their adoption of EVs going forward. Later on this week, Ford announced new updates to the E-Transit courier vehicle in Europe. This is a more compact E-Transit, which here in the US could be used well for a smaller delivery vehicle. It gets 236 miles of range, and of course it's fully electric. It could be used for a US postal vehicle, or and another example would be maybe a Coca-Cola delivery vehicle. This is the second Transit Ford has released that's fully electric, and I expect many of these to be utilized across several spaces in the whole world. Hyundai showed off another car this week at the auto show, the all-new updated Kona electric design. So, this vehicle was originally showed back in 2018 with a similar design to the internal combustion Kona. Despite this, when it went into production in limited regions, it was considered a very good EV with a shorter range. The new update has a much more EV styling and updated infotainment center to reflect a fully electric vehicle. This Kona is slated for a 2024 model year and will come with 260 miles of range in its larger battery configuration. Big difference with this Hyundai is that it will only have the 400 volt DC fast charging architecture instead of the 800 that we see on the very enjoyed Ionic series of vehicles. The big thing missing is the price. There was no mention about the price, and so we could see where that ends up really putting it in the market. So the original Kona was the only real big issue was the fact that the price was a little too close to what the Model 3 standard range was, which the Model 3 standard range rear-wheel drive did have had a better range, but it was a similar pricing. They also had the Tesla supercharging network. Now this does put the Kona up there with a similar range to the Model 3 short range or standard range, but we don't know the price, and we do know that it does not have that Tesla supercharging network. Now, towards the end of the week, we start getting some exciting stuff. Tesla has again lowered their prices, and this time they lowered them pretty well. So, let me calm down. This one surprised me. Tesla lowered them back to close to where they were several months ago. So, starting out with the Model 3, they're taking about $1,000 off of the different ones, where the standard range version is now going to be starting at $41,990. That gets 272 miles, and it's a great bargain for a vehicle. The all-wheel drive still is not for sale, so you can't really see if there's any price changes there, but the performance also got lower by $1,000. And what that does is it now brings that red with black interior Model 3 performance under the $55,000 cap, so that it will be eligible for a tax credit. The full tax credit until the end of April, and then it's being said that it's probably going to only be eligible for half of the tax credit after April, when they start reinforcing the battery materials. The Model Y has also been reduced in price. So the biggest thing with the Model Y is that Tesla brought back the standard range Model Y that was originally offered back in the beginning of the Model Y production in 2020. Now, this was only actually offered for a couple of months before they removed it off of the website, and you could only order it as an off-menu car, and I'm not really even sure if they continue to allow that for the last couple of years. So this is pretty interesting that they've brought it back. Now, it does have a smaller range, but it starts at $49,990 for this Model Y, and it has 279 miles of range. And I gotta say, that's a really good deal for a very good vehicle. The long range also dropped by $2,000. Is important because that makes it only $500 more than what it was at the time that I bought it earlier this year in January. The performance was also dropped by $2,000, bringing those prices down as well. Now, both the Model S and the Model X also received a $5,000 price drop. The Model S is now starting at $84,990 or $85,000, while the Model X is starting at $95,000. The plaids for both the Model S and the Model X were also reduced, which brings those supercars, straight up, they are supercars, down to $105,000 and $104,000 depending on the model. Most supercars cost in the hundreds of thousands of $200,000 and $300,000, not $100,000. But we all know that's still a very expensive vehicle. Also this week, Walmart is going to launch their own EV network across thousands of stores and a plan to finish by 2030. This will be different than the current plan that they already have with Electrify America, which is owned by Volkswagen. And they have those chargers already at 230 stores across the country. They're really going to expand on this through 2030. So, that was all the news for this week. I intend to continue to do this on a weekly basis. Let me know in the comments if you like the format. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you want to know whenever new videos are coming out for me on Model Ys, Model 3, and AV News, please hit that subscribe button and hit the little notification bell, and it'll actually let you know when I post a video. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you on the next one.